There we go. So hey again, everybody. I just want to welcome you all to another FolkArt Sign Shop class with Michaels. We want to give a huge thank you to Michaels for allowing us to do all these classes and share all these tips, tricks, and inspiration with you all. I just want to let you guys know that Lindsay is moderating in the Q&A today. So if you have any questions throughout the live stream, make sure to drop them in the chat and Lindsay can relay those over to me or answer them herself. We've had quite a few sign shop classes already with Michaels, and so we've already gone over a lot of different tips and tricks. And so today we're going to go over all the things you need to know about our stencil paste and all the different color tips and tricks that you will need to continue with your sign shop crafting. So if you're new and you've never tuned into one of our sign shop classes before, we are super excited because in 2021, FolkArt released a FolkArt sign shop line, and we've really done all the work for you with this line, you guys. We have a beautiful selection of different size mesh stencils, which makes stenciling easier than ever. We have a lot of different stencil paste packs with beautiful color palettes that we've picked for you. So all you have to do is grab your stencil, grab your surface, and grab your stencil paste pack and just create beautiful signs at home. And the great thing about these mesh stencils is that they're reusable. So you can use them dozens and dozens of times, which is so great, obviously. And all of the different designs are so unique and so beautiful because if you want to switch to the overhead, Jimena, normally in traditional stencils, you have a lot of breaks. So you can see here in this word create, there would be several breaks here because that's what's keeping the stencil together virtually. So that little tiny dot in the middle of that E there, there would be several breaks and you'd have to connect them yourself. But the great and unique thing about this sign shop stencil line is that there are no breaks. Everything is a continuous pattern. And the reason it's like that is because there's a mesh system inside the stencil. It's kind of similar to a silk screen. If you are a textile artist out there, there's a tiny little grid system in the stencil that allows the stencil paste to, perforate the grid system really, really easily and leave you with super, super clean designs. If you're anything like me and you've stenciled before, sometimes it can get a little tricky to get a really, really clean design in your stencil, because you have to have some patience with it for sure. You have to be gentle with it and patient with it and just really apply some thin coats and keep going back to make sure that your stencil is opaque as you want it. But with this, it's just a swipe method. You swipe it down and then you are good to go. So Lindsay, do we have any questions so far?
No, we don't. Everyone is excited to be here though. So yay.
Okay,
I'm excited
awesome.
too. This is one of my favorite topics that we have now. And yeah, the tips and tricks you're going to share today, I think everybody's going to be really excited to hear.
I agree. I can't wait to share them with you guys. And just like always, if you make any of these projects at home and you decide to post them on social media, make sure to hashtag Make It With Michaels and hashtag Plaid Crafts. We're always looking under those two hashtags, and we are always inspired by what you guys are making at home, and it inspires us for what we make next. So make sure to do that, definitely. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make this adorable little super colorful sign for your home decor. This would be great in a teen room, in a classroom, in really any type of setting. In an office, it would look great. And so I'm going to show you guys just, I'm going to glance over the basics of sign shop again, but I'm also going to show you guys how to create this ombre pattern. And I'm also going to show you some other little tips and tricks if we have time with some other surfaces I've pulled. So let me get started by going over all the things that you're always going to need whenever you're doing a sign shop project. You're going to need an applicator tool. So we have 3 different applicator tools. We have a brush applicator tool, a silicone spreader applicator tool, and then this great multi-pack of all these different squeegees. And I love this pack, and that's what I'm going to be using today because there is a variety of sizes. And so you can really get into, it's kind of like a one and done thing. So maybe I would want to use like the smaller one for this smaller size and then the bigger one for this bigger size. And it's really easy. And I also love it because I don't have to wash my brushes, which may make me sound a little bit lazy, but that's just the truth in crafting. If you don't have to wash your brushes, crafting becomes 10 times more fun. So you need an applicator tool. Next, you're going to need some stencil paste. So we have these great packs of stencil paste. And they come in a variety of palettes. So pick which one you like the best. And We have them in this smaller size with a bunch of different palettes. And then we also have this great bigger size so that you can mix your own colors together. Obviously, you can use them as they are, but I'm going to show you guys, because today is the stencil paste color pack. I'm going to show you guys just how easy it is to mix the stencil paste. If maybe you buy a pack and you want it to match your home decor and you can't find a color that you really want, I'm going to show you how easy it is to mix your own colors. And this pack is great for that because it has obviously all the colors in the rainbow and white, black, and brown. And we also have these larger sizes. They're 2.5 fluid ounces, and they come in white and black. And we did that because we're seeing everywhere with all of the modern sign making trends. You have like a really pretty whitewashed wood palette, and then usually the lettering is in black or white. So these come in a bigger size, so you can make, you know, all the stencil projects that you want. And they come in black and white, obviously, which is great. And then you're going to need your mesh stencil. And today we're going to be using this one. And then I'm going to show you some other cute stencils we have if we have time. And then you're going to need either running water like a sink, or you're going to want a water basin. And this is crucial to your process because you're going to want to immediately dip your painted stencil in some water just so that the stencil paste doesn't dry in that mesh, and it'll keep it lasting for a really, really long time, the stencils. Okay, sorry, Lindsay, again, any questions?
Well, Isabella would like to know if there's, you know, where's the best place to get all the supplies? Is there like a one-click option on Michaels.com, or just go to Michaels.com and go for it?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So right now, Michaels, this is exclusive at Michaels. So definitely either go in store at Michaels, or obviously go to Michaels.com and just type in sign shop, and all of these great products will come up on your landing page. Great question. Okay, so one thing I wanted to note as well is that all of our stencils have a low tack adhesive to them. And I don't know about you guys at home, but I really prefer stencils that have an adhesive because I don't have to worry about my stencil sliding around. And the best part is, and I'll be able to show you guys this later, once you wash this off, it becomes sticky again. And I'll show you guys that. So right here, I just have a little 8x10 canvas that I'm going to pop into my frame. This keeps falling. I'm going to set it to the side. And the great thing is about Sign Shop as well is that the stencil paste is multi-surface. So it would go great on metal, on wood, on fabric, on canvas, on anything you can think of. Okay, so I'm going to set this down so we can all take a peek at it while we're crafting. And I'm gonna start off with this pack because that's what we called for in the project supply list. Okay.
Love these colors. They're so bright and pretty.
Oh my gosh, me too, Lindsay. And so here's something that I want to note before I go ahead and get started. You want, like I said before, once you're immediately done, you want to go ahead and dip the stencil in your water basin so you can clear out all that paint through the mesh. And even if you don't massage your stencil right away, you want the water to come in contact with it so that it can't dry. But you know, you want to be quick with your stencil if you're using a lot of different color effects like this ombre, which is going to take some time. So what I would like to do is you could totally just, you know, lay your stencil down and then start, you know, brushing along with all your different colors. But when we get to this imagine part at the bottom, I want to ombre it, which is going to take a second, like I just said. So I'm going to cut these up so that once I'm done with each word, I can go ahead and rinse it. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Okay. So let's start with this really pretty green color. This is called bright green. And I'm going to apply this to my palette. Oh, and I just talked about it and I didn't even do it. So I am going to go ahead and cut up all these words just so that our stencils stay lasting for a long, long time. And once you cut it up, you just want to keep that adhesive backing and you can kind of place it back together like a little puzzle. Okay. And it'll be good to just, you know, oops, mixed it up. Keep it down just so we can get our spacing sorted out so I know where I want all my words to fall. So that's good. Maybe a little bit lower. Actually, that'll be good because we want to space it out a little bit. Just make sure it's straight. And a tip I want to give you guys at home, if you feel confident, you can go ahead and start stenciling this. But if you're worried that some of your paint is going to get on this really fine edge, then just get some stencil tape. There's some really great FolkArt stencil tape at Michael's, and just go ahead and block the bottom so that you don't have to worry about that.
That is a smart idea because I am forever getting it outside the lines when I stencil. It's it's a good idea to tape it off.
You don't have to worry about coloring in the lines anymore. We've got you covered.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my squeegee and apply some of my stencil paste to it. Now for the fun part. And just swipe it down, and if it doesn't get in the grooves at first, just keep going. And you guys, this stencil paste, a little goes a long way. So just apply just a little bit to your palette because you're not going to need much. These tubes look small, but they have quite the impact. You can see here, I'm just kind of holding my stencil down because this is a stretched canvas and it wants to move whenever I move. I'm just holding it down because we want our stencil to stay really flush to our surface so that the paint can't get in between, okay? We don't have to worry about that on like a piece of wood or a piece of illustration board, but that's just something you want to be mindful of whenever you see how it's kind of bouncing, whenever your surface can move like that. Okay, time to remove it. Ta-da!
Yay!
Okay, so now what we want to do, like I've said a bunch of times, we want to dip our stencil into our water basin. And we don't even have to worry about massaging it at first. We just want that water to come into contact with our stencil paste so that it doesn't dry on there, okay? And now, like I said, we don't have to wash our brushes, you guys. We just have to wipe it off with a paper towel. Wet, damp, dry, doesn't matter. Okay. And now we're ready to go again. It's so quick and easy, you guys.
And Isabella says, great teaching details.
Awesome. Thanks, Isabella. Okay, just keep cutting your letters, your words. You guys, I'd love to know in the chat if you have used our FolkArt sign shop yet and what you think about it, what your favorite color palettes are, what projects you've made. Let us know. We would love to know that.
And Trisha would like to know, I guess there's a little spot at the bottom of the R that didn't quite get all of the paste in there. How would you fix that?
Okay, that's a great question. So two things you could do. You could go ahead and get a really small liner brush and you can touch it up yourself manually, or you can just place the stencil over it again, just really carefully and just swipe it again. And the reason we didn't get that, that full R, this is a great teaching moment, you guys, is because of this stretched canvas, okay? And so when we place it down, there was a little bit of space in between there because it's kind of bouncing, like I said. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, and that's the great thing too about the stencils being reusable. You can just let that dry, place it down exactly, and go over it again, and you're good to go.
Yes, and great point, Lindsay, and you'll totally be able to see where you need to match it up again because, obviously it's clear. You can, see through it. Okay, now we'll whip out our purple color.
And Lisa wants to know why you're not using a canvas board instead, since it doesn't have the bounce. Just choice?
Yeah, just a choice. It fits a little bit better in my frame. That's what I used on this guy in particular, but it's totally up to you. My frame is just a little bit thicker, so that's what we're using today. But if I were to have a more thin frame, then I would use a piece of illustration board or canvas board.
Gotcha. And again, since these are multi-surface, you can use them on anything.
Yes, absolutely. You know, because this is bigger, I'm going to switch to my bigger squeegee.
I love that there are so many
So much
sizes.
better. I know, me too. It makes it really easy.
You can get in the little tiny details or go big.
Absolutely.
Susan would like to know, could you put a book underneath it for a steadier foundation?
Yes, you could, Susan. That is a fantastic idea.
And
we're gonna-
Arts, oh, I'm sorry. Arts would like to
No.
know, do I have to prime the canvas? And when I'm done painting, do I have to seal it?
Great questions. You do not have to prime the canvas. A lot of the canvases at Michael's, they come like gessoed or primed. So this one is as well. So we do not have to worry about that. And we'll only be using this obviously for decorative purposes. So we're not going to place it outside or anything. So there's no need to seal it. But if you wanted to seal it, I would recommend like our Mod Podge matte or gloss, or Mod Podge Ultra works as a really great sealer for pieces of art.
And CW would like to know, what is the brush called? But you're using a squeegee, right? And they all come in the FolkArt Sign Shop line.
Yes.
Lots of different sizes to choose from. Could you use a brush, or would you recommend using the squeegee?
So we have an actual brush in our sign shop line. So that would be a really great tool to use. And it's kind of like our squeegee, except we'll just touch that up a little bit, you guys. It's kind of like our squeegee. It's the same shape as it, but it has bristles at the end.
Okay.
And you guys, I'm going to take a note from Susan's book and use a book to stabilize, oh my goodness, to stabilize my canvas, because that's a fantastic idea. And we're going to get a cleaner edge because it is moving around.
Thanks, Susan.
Yeah,
Great
thanks,
idea.
Susan. We have some expert crafters in the chat today.
We always do.
That I know that are reminding us of some great ideas. Let's see. I'm trying to find the right size book that would work in here. I wonder, you guys.
Oh my gosh. I just wondered.
See where I'm going with this?
I do, yes.
Perfect.
Ta-da!
Look, you guys, we're actually going to use this to stabilize our space.
That's
so
fantastic.
Yes, we're just going to keep this here, and that's going to create some stabilization so that our image goes on really, really smoothly. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to keep going with our be yourself phrase. And line him up. And so if your cutting skills are kind of how you want this, like mine, you can just, piece together your pieces of tape to make it easier for yourself.
Tina would like to know, what is the difference between paint and stencil paste?
Okay, so our stencil paste was designed specifically for our FolkArt Sign Shop line. So it is super, super rich and creamy, and it really is just like in the name, it's a paste. And so it's designed to go through the mesh stencil and not go under it and bleed like you could sometimes, that's a problem you can run into with just regular acrylic paint. So this is designed specifically to be so thick and rich so that it really just glides through the stencil and you won't have to worry about it bleeding.
It really makes it effortless.
Yes, it really, really does. Like you don't have to think about it, you guys. It's so easy to do and you always come out with a really gorgeous pattern. And you just have such great control with these squeegees too. You can go every which way.
It's really fun to do, and it's satisfying to watch you do it. It's fun.
Good. Perfect. Oh, you know what? So we're gonna place it back down and just really get those little spots. Better.
And I love the positive message of this stencil.
I know. There's the cutest stencils, you guys. You have to go see for yourself. And of course, you can do that by going in person to Michael's or by going to michaels.com. And see how I'm just kind of touching this up a little bit. And we're still having a little bit of resistance issues with our stretched canvas here, but it's okay. We're just touching it up, making it look great.
Isabella would like to know if there are any flower stencils for spring.
There absolutely are, Isabella. We have some really, really pretty phrases with flowers attached to them. We have a really cute tag icon pack that is great for card making and for gift giving, great to place a little tag. And I'm going to show you one of those really cute floral stencils just in a bit. Because I'm going to show you
flowers here.
We sure do. And it's finally time to really show our love for them since the weather's turning and the flowers are blooming. Okay.
And we hope you guys make your own creations with FolkArt Sign Shop, and don't forget to hashtag plaid crafts and hashtag make it with Michael so we can see what you're doing.
Definitely. So we're just making sure that this is really nice and touching our surface because you know what? This canvas is a little bit more textured than the canvas we used on here. So maybe we'll just use a little bit of tape just to really secure our stencil down to our surface. Okay. And so that's good to do for this, for any kind of mesh stencil, any kind of stencil when you're working on fabric or something that just naturally is not going to be as flat in nature like canvas or fabric. You just want to make sure that your stencil is really on there and maybe, you know, tape it down. Okay. There we go. We're going to pick up some of this orange. We will switch to this size.
Rob would like to know, you mentioned fabric. Is there a specific stencil paste for fabric?
No, so it's all the same formula and they're all multi-surface. So yeah, that's a great question. It's all the same formula, all the different packs. They're all multi-surface.
So if you use it on like a shirt or a canvas bag, is it washable?
You know, we have a mantra here at Plaid. If you make anything by hand, then you should also wash it by hand. So
Yes.
yeah, I would just wash that by hand if you're wanting to wash it. I'm sure it's really in those grooves. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Now we have one more word to go.
This is my favorite. I love this part.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna bring him down. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna blow dry him just a little bit, just so I can apply a little bit of tape on there. And I just see right there, how long does it take for the paint to dry? It takes, I would say just about, 20 minutes. It doesn't take a long time, but I'm just gonna blow dry just for today's sake.
While you're taping that guy down, I've noticed that there is some color on the frame also. How did you do that?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to show you guys how to post. Sorry, I was reading the comments. I'm definitely going to show you guys how to do that later in the class. Okay, so we're just smoothing this out just to make sure that it's really flush to our surface, okay? Maybe we'll switch it this way. There we go.
So Isabella, if you want to take photos of your work, and post it online. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. You can find us, we're Plaid Crafts. And like I said, if you hashtag Plaid Crafts, we follow that hashtag. And if you hashtag Make It With Michaels, we follow that hashtag. And that's how we can see everything everyone's doing. And we absolutely love to see everybody's work. Makes us so happy.
Definitely. Okay, so guys, this is a little different. I'm going to be applying the paste right to our the top of our stencil. Okay, we're just letting our paste sit right above it, and so that later we're going to be able to swipe down and really get those.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. No, you're fine.
No, Gail says, great class. Is it a good idea to let the paint dry completely before going on to the next word when you're starting out?
You totally don't need to. The only reason that I blow dried it is because I wanted to place a little bit of tape on the word I just did, and it was tacky. So I didn't want to put tape on it and then remove the tape and have some of that paint come off because it was still a little bit wet.
So if you're taping off, you should probably let it dry first.
Yes. But something I want to know, you don't want the stencil to dry. Okay. So you always want to keep the paint in your stencil wet while it's on your surface, because you don't want that paint to dry inside the mesh stencil itself, because that's going to affect the, the long lasting ability of your stencil. Okay. So we're going to switch to this bigger squeegee. And we're going to swipe down. Okay, so we want to make sure it's flush to the surface. Okay, how pretty. And maybe we'll go again, really get those colors blended. And we're going to remove that paint on like a paper towel or something, because we don't want to muddy up these next beautiful colors. Look how pretty, you guys.
Awesome.
Okay, so now that we're done with this cute little sign, I'm going to show you guys just how I blocked. Let me remove this tape first so I can stick it in here. I'm going to show you guys how I blocked off my frame. Okay, I'm just wiping off my squeegee tool. Okay, and so there are a few different sizes of stencil tape available at Michael's, and I'm going to show you guys how to make your own size stencil tape. So see how we have these negative white spaces, and they're really thin, and obviously they are much thinner than our tape. All you need to do is rip off a piece of tape. What I like to do is I like to anchor my tape onto something that's above the surface of the whatever I'm working on, and I like to just cut my stencil tape and change the width myself.
It's a great tip.
Yeah, and it's a lot easy. It's really easy. Okay. And so now we're going to use that as a little blocker. And you can see, like, you might be like, hey, Emma, why did you put the tape all the way along here instead of dividing it in half? That's really acting as my straight edge because I want it to continue in the same direction.
Patty has a question. She would like to know, she says, even though I'm rinsing my stencils, there's still some color remaining, not the mesh. Is there a safe way to remove it for it to remain clean looking?
Okay, so that's great. So I'd also like to know, like, how is the stencil working? Like, is it still able to be like stenciled through pretty well? If you're having some trouble with it, I would say, you know, be mindful of your work time, because one great thing about this paste is that it does dry fairly quickly. Not enough time where you're not able to work with it in a, you know, realistic way, but it does dry quickly. So you just want to be really mindful of your work time. But Patty, you could definitely try to just use some dish soap or some hand soap and try to remove some of that paint. And if there is a little bit of color on it, and it's still working great, you know, that's not an issue at all. It still work the same way. Hope that answers your question.
Isabella has a great idea. She says you could cut the tape with textured scissors to get different designs on your edge.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Isabella. Okay, I'm just continuing that there. Okay, and now we're just gonna snip so that we can stick him there and make sure he's really flush down, because whenever we're working with stencil tape, we of course want our stencil tape to be flush to our surface. So I'm just trimming this so that I can really make sure that it sits there nicely. Okay, and so, gosh, you guys, I keep forgetting to wipe off my squeegees when I'm done, but it's not even an issue because it just still wipes right off. Okay, what color should I use? So maybe we'll use our blue and our orange, because that's what colors we left out down here. And we still have some, so we don't want that to go to waste. And we're just going to use it the same way we used it on our actual stencils. We're going to swipe down. Oops. We're going overboard.
Again, I just love these colors. They're so vibrant. They just pop.
I know, they really, really do. And like we're using the Brights pack right now. And this, the Brights pack and this stencil in particular, like I said in the beginning, this is great for a classroom, for a kid's room. You know, if you're doing virtual learning right now, it's a great little motivator to put in your at-home classroom at your desk.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Isn't there a sports team with these colors? This blue and this orange is very reminiscent to like something to
the
me.
Florida Gators.
Oh.
I'm a Bulldog myself, but my father-in-law is a Florida Gator.
So you have a lot of feelings about these colors, huh, Lindsay?
I do. Oh, and Susan says it's also the New York Mets. She's right.
Okay, yeah. Okay, and now we're gonna remove it. Oops, the tape didn't come off all the way, that's okay. We're just gonna come at it on the other side. And as you'll see, we're gonna get some really clean lines. Oops, sorry, that's a little loud. And another great part, we cut this in the beginning. This tape, so now we can just remove it from the center. Makes it a little easier for us all. Whoop. Last one. How adorable is that?
Love it.
So cute, you guys. Okay, so now just to close out our class for today, I'm going to show you guys, I showed you guys the ombre, I showed you guys the color blocking. Now I'm going to show you a little bit about the blending and just some tools and some tips and tricks that will help you along your way. It's always the orange I forget to clean off of my tool too. Why is that? Okay. So I just have this little wood surface. Michael's has some fantastic wood surfaces. And I have this really adorable little stencil. And someone said earlier, do you have floral stencils? We have a bunch of floral stencils, and this comes in the same pack. And this is just a great little representation of them. Look at all those details in the stencils, you guys.
Very pretty.
Yeah, so we're going to use this one today. And so it comes with this gorgeous pattern, and it also comes with the words peace, love, and joy. So we're just going to trim off those letters because we're not going to need them today. And we're just going to center this in the middle. There we are. Okay, and so we have these great stencil brushes at Michael's, and this is going to be a great tool for blending some of our flowers. So you could absolutely use our Sign Shop brushes and our Sign Shop squeegees and applicator tools, but you can also use our mesh stencils with stencil brushes. If that's more in your home field, if that's what you're used to and comfortable with, you can absolutely use your stencil brush. Okay, so what colors should we use, you guys? Maybe let's do a little bit of blending. So we're going to take our white and our green, little dab of green.
Isabella says, let's do some lavender.
Okay, we absolutely can. Maybe we'll make our flowers lavender. Here's the palette. Thanks. And we let's pull in some red from our big pack, which is, like I said in the beginning, is great for mixing because we have the full rainbow. If you're just getting started with Sign Shop, this is a really great thing to have. And like we said in the beginning, you know, it's not like going to be, you shouldn't be stressed over it, but you just want to be mindful of how quickly you're working with this because we don't want our paste to dry inside the stencil. Okay, now we can just use our squeegees to mix our colors together. So I don't want to use my stencil brush to mix my colors together because if you've ever stenciled before, then you know that you want to keep your brush as dry as possible. You don't want to start out with a wet brush from rinsing it with water, and you want to have as, the least amount of paint on it as possible. So those are things you want to keep in mind. And I prefer to use our Sign Shop tools that come in the Sign Shop line with just regular sign making and regular Sign Shop stencils. But whenever I'm doing a little detail that I just want it to be blended really well, sometimes I like to use my stencil brush. And we'll put some lavender on our palette as requested. And we'll mix up our green. I want a really light green color. Okay, so whenever I know I'm going to take a while doing a stencil, I want to do first whatever is going to take the longest, because if I'm just swiping these letters down with white, then I don't have to worry about how long that's going to take because I know it's not going to take me long. The thing that's going to take me the longest here is doing these flowers. And it's not that it's going to take a long time. I just know that out of everything, that's going to be the most time consuming. So I want to do that first so that I can get that out of the way so that I have more time to work with this before I have to peel it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply some of this purple right at the top of my flowers, and I'm going to apply some of my pink at the bottom, and then I'm going to swirl it. And we're just kind of dabbing it. We just want some paint on there, okay? Maybe we'll put it at the bottom too. Make it meet at the top. And now we'll get our pink. That we mixed together with our red and our white from our big pack. And take your stencil brush and just swirl, or you can spounce, it's up to you. And since we are just use that pink, we're going to use the pink on the other side because we don't want our brush to be muddied with both of those colors. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And now we can bring in this purple.
I can't wait to see this reveal. It's gonna be so
Me
pretty.
too. Okay, and so now that our flowers are all blended beautifully, we are going to just apply some of our green that we made to our leaves, and that's going to be easy. We just swipe it down. And I don't know if you guys can tell yet, but we're going to be left with these really pretty light pastel-y colors.
Perfect for
And
spring.
really, oh my gosh, so perfect for spring. And we're just going everywhere along this wreath that we didn't hit with our pink and our purple, okay? And now we're gonna go down our letters with our white. Okay, now for the big reveal, you guys.
Oh, how pretty. I
I'll
love
hold
it.
it up so you guys can see how detailed it is.
That's amazing.
And that's our FolkArt sign shop, you guys. Look how amazing that looks and how detailed it is. These are some designs that you could never get with a traditional stencil. So that's really what is the lifeblood of this line that we're so excited to talk to you guys about. It is an amazing product and we can't wait for you guys to try it. So you guys, I think we covered blending, we covered ombre, we colored color blocking, we covered all of the wonderful color tips and tricks that you need to know to get started with the sign shop or to continue with your sign shop crafts at home. So again, we always want to give a big thank you to Michaels for allowing us to provide you with some tips, tricks, and inspiration. And we want to give a huge thank you to all of you guys who are watching at home and participating with us and crafting with us and giving us wonderful ideas. We have another class this Friday. Just keep an eye out on the Michaels class listings for all of our upcoming classes with Plaid. And we just love having you here. Thank you all so much for tuning in and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.